Hello, welcome. I am Savalian, a software dev slash creative, and I haven't done a vlog in a while, so here's a really chaotic and kind of personal one. Buckle up. We begin our story at the end of January when I was feeling like I wasn't doing enough, specifically that I'm not doing enough on my game development project, my auto chess game, codenamed Project Caribou, and other projects like YouTube and art practice were just kind of scraping by. And I should mention, this feeling like I wasn't doing enough was brought on by a number of very valid life events. The biggest being that in late December we had a big freeze here in Oregon and the kitchen flooded so bad that the contractors had to pull all the counters out, rip up the countertops, rip up the floor, run a bunch of fans and dehumidifiers for like a week. And then once the floor was dry and the leak was fixed, we had to actually fix everything that they ripped out. And the problem is that after the freeze, everyone needed home repairs. It was hard to schedule people to come out and even harder to get the materials. So for weeks and weeks, we have not had a working kitchen sink or stove or any countertops, and also everything that was in the kitchen had to be moved out into the living room, turning our entire downstairs basically into an obstacle course full of crap. Throughout early January, dealing with this chaos, I found it hard to find the mental energy to do work because I didn't really feel like myself. My whole routine was disrupted, and on top of that, every step of the repair process took so long that it didn't feel like it would ever be fixed. So I entered this sort of like hopeless, cynical phase where I just sort of felt like I would never have a normal like routine again, which obviously is, that's the bad feelings talking. It's not really reasonable. And then also the financial stress looming over me was really tough. But I wanted to do more. I didn't want this wait to get the better of me. I wanted to push past my very understandable slump because I like working on my game. I like creating things. I want to publish my game at some point and get it out there, and so I can't do that unless I actually work on it. So I did what anyone does when they need a little push, and I started filming a vlog to inject a little bit of accountability into my day. For my game goals, I started this year off with a procedure I call the jank list. Every week I sit down and I play my game for 15 minutes and I make a note of everything that is janky. So bugs, things that need to be updated, things that were never fully implemented in the first place, just everything that's wrong with it. I write down, and then I total up the number of items on my jank list, and that's the jank score. And I've been plotting this out on a little graph in my notebook, and the idea is that each week it should go down as I fix things, but up until the start of this vlog, it had been going up each week, which is kind of understandable in retrospect because as you work with software more, you are just naturally more likely to uncover bugs as you get into more obscure situations. But it was it made me panic a little bit. So as part of this vlog, what I really wanted to do is buckle down and get that jank score headed in the right direction. So the first thing I tried was to hit some easier tasks on the jank list. I added some more like vanity cosmetic skins to the critters. I had implemented this system a while ago, but I only ever added skins for one critter. So I did that. And once I got that done, I felt really good. But there's something funny that happens with development. It's like the story, if you give a mouse a cookie, he'll want some milk, but you're out of milk, so you have to go to the store, and so on and so on. So as I fixed the bugs, I frequently discovered new bugs that were hidden by the original bug, or maybe even accidentally introduce new ones. This is natural. It happens. All you can do is do your best not to introduce new bugs and just keep chipping away at it, and eventually it should even out, I hope. But after I've added vanity skins, I found a few bugs with how they react to certain critters, and then I also did introduce, I think, a new bug. Maybe that one was already there and it was just hidden as well. But this is just how things go sometimes. Right at the end of January, I did hit a surprise milestone. I reached 500 subscribers here on YouTube, and I want to say thank you to everyone who is subscribed. It's been quite a long journey. I've been posting on YouTube since I believe 2017 or 2018, so it's been years. But I'm starting to feel like I'm finally finding my place after all these years, and that's been really nice. If you aren't subscribed, maybe smash that subscribe button and help that number go up even further. But otherwise, we'll just keep on going here. Another tactic I tried to get that jank score down is reintroduce game dev live streams to my Twitch schedule. I used to do a lot of game dev on Twitch. I actually did almost exclusively game dev when I first started my Twitch because I had just gotten laid off from my job, and I wanted to, I wanted to push the needle on the game I was working on at that point. The thing about game dev streams is that for me, they require a lot more prep than playing a game, and they can get a little bit stressful and overwhelming in ways that gaming just doesn't. So I was a little nervous adding these back into my routine, but it ended up being really nice actually. I have found such a nice little community on Twitch, and it's been a delight to do a little bit of game work with them once a week or so. In reality, everyone is delightful and kind and supportive, and we all have a nice time, I think. Hanging out and just getting some stuff done. For my first stream, I worked on the player choice UI, and this feature came out of a desire to make the gameplay a little bit more strategic, playing on some roguelite mechanics. The initial design also for this system was missing something. As I'm recording this now, in late February, I think I've actually cracked the problem. I'm hoping to get the changes that I have in mind in before the end of the vlog, but I'm kind of recording this as I go, so we'll have to keep watching to see if I get that done in time. Also, this entire time, I haven't been able to use my treadmill because when the contractors moved the fridge out of the kitchen, for some reason they put it right in front of the treadmill, so I can't put the tread down. So I'm trapped in this ironic situation where I can't go on any runs because the food is blocking the path. But to adapt, I've been getting steps by walking in place in my house and doing yoga from my phone in this tiny little space next to the couch, kind of in the entryway hallway area, which is so nice. I've been trying to make it work and maintain my fitness as best I can. Also, before you comment, I know I can go outside. I like the treadmill better, okay? We also made a few runs to Home Depot to pick out things that we need to replace in the kitchen. So we picked out countertops, flooring, we looked at some tile backsplashes. The counters we picked were a lot more expensive than the ones that we replaced, so we had to go a little out of pocket for those. But they were just so beautiful. It was this quartz countertop with black and sparkly bits in the surface, and I love it. I have no regrets whatsoever about this countertop. And while we were out one day, I decided to finally get a house plant. I've been wanting to get one for actual years, but I got a Boston fern, which I immediately chopped in half because YouTube told me to. So now I have 2 Boston ferns, and I just hope I can keep them alive. I'm doing my best. I'm doing some research. One's looking a little droopy, but I have faith that he'll pull through. One of the next things I worked on for my game was a little bit silly, but it adds a nice layer of polish, I think. When the player summons a new critter, previously they would just show up. Now, they do a little clap animation and some sparkles show up, and then when the critter is summoned, it has this glowing effect around it. I do think the glowing effect needs to be redone. It doesn't really match the style of the rest of the game, but it's a nice placeholder. It adds something. It adds a little visual something. The problem I still need to fix here is that there's a little delay to get the effects to line up correctly, and it's a bit jarring the way it's going now. I think what I want to do is load in the unit immediately and then just show it after the delay, but it looks pretty good now. The only thing is I messed up the enemy units and where they spawn in when I did this, so I've got to fix that too. 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Next, I started working in Figma to design a new dashboard for the game, or at least that's what I'm calling it. The dashboard is the screen that lets the players keep track of how they're doing in terms of progression, start up a new run or a match or whatever I call it. And I want it to be comfortable for the player to just sort of sit in and easy for them to understand. After a lot of sketching and playing around in Figma, I came up with this swapping panel idea, which kind of loads in the relevant menu based on the button you click at the bottom. So you're always on this screen for whatever you need. I designed it in Figma and then got the basic code working in my game, but there's a lot more to do. Like I have to actually do all the individual screens. So right now I've just done the quest menu, and then there's also an empty view when you pick collections that just sort of, it's just there to show that it's working, really. I've got to finish all that later. And then all of the buttons that I haven't gotten to yet just take you to the same scene that they already did. So everything still works, it's just a little bit in progress. After a full month and a half without a kitchen, we finally got counters. Like I mentioned, we paid extras for these. The home insurance didn't pay for all of it, but I think it was worth it. Tile counters are pretty bad, and that's what we had before. We could have gotten a much cheaper, like manufactured counter at a similar price to the tile, but they had just a flimsy feel. We didn't really like them, and this was a chance to do something nice for the house. And like I said, I'm so happy with them. No regrets. They sparkle like the night sky, and it's a delight to look at them. Unfortunately, the counter installation company seriously damaged the drywall in our kitchen and have refused to fix it. So we have been arguing with Home Depot, so we need to deal with that still. But such is home ownership, always trying to fix something. Mid-February, I finally got around to finishing the player choice system. I say it like that because, like I mentioned, it's still missing something at this point. I hadn't figured out what I wanted to do quite yet. But basically, I did a little bit of coding before my scheduled dev stream to set up the buffs that I'm using to sort of give these choice bonuses to the critters. And then I put the whole system together on stream. So at this point, I could select a player choice, have it show up on the UI, and then actually affect units that were added to the board. So this does a little bonus to their element effect. And like I said, I have a better idea for this system. I just need to make time to like put it in. But this was another really nice, chill, productive dev stream. Also in mid-February, I took a Friday off work and just played games all day. And honestly, I needed it. And I was able to unwind a little bit. And the rest of the weekend, I mostly did housework, and I even upgraded Victor, my green-cheeked conure, to a new cage. And he's very happy in his new space. He's having a blast in there. In the last stretch of February, we finally got the kitchen floors put in. Now this is almost 2 full months after the initial damages. We had to wait a long time for the materials to come in, and once they did, it just took a day to actually install the floors. And now we just need the finishing touches, like the trim on the counters. They're gonna do a little bit of painting, put all the appliances back where they go, and then we will have a kitchen again. The end is near. It feels good, but at the same time, I can't really trust that it will actually be done because everything has been delayed so much. But I'm trying to be optimistic. And then out of nowhere, we got a little snowstorm. This doesn't affect me too much because I work from home, but we did need to go out to get food since we still can't use our kitchen. And it's kind of fun to get snow, but I do worry when it becomes a dangerous, icy situation. So far, this snow seems harmless, just very cold and windy and hard to walk in. And during this last week of February, I took another Friday off. This one, instead of playing games all day, my goal is to do a bit of batch filming for YouTube. I typically plan and film and edit and publish a video each week, and it can be pretty rough on me if it's a more involved video. So I want to try and get ahead of the game a little bit by batching these tasks together, filming a few videos at once, It won't make my editing any faster, but at least I'll be able to start on it earlier. I'm hoping to get YouTube work done in the morning on this Friday off and have a little time left at the end of my afternoon to really dig into that player choices rework that I've talked about a few times. But I've noticed that days off rarely go as they should, I think they should, so we'll see what actually happens today. So on my second Friday off, I wanted to do a lot of YouTube work. I wanted to prep some videos, get ahead a little bit, and I pretty much did that. I didn't get as much editing done as I had planned because editing takes a really long time, but I got everything filmed that I needed to get filmed and sort of prepared my Saturday to be a big game dev day. Because the last thing I want to do before I wrap up this vlog is get that player choice sort of rework done. And I want to be able to show how it works at the end, and then probably do another little jank test right at the end there too. So I worked basically all of Saturday. I started around 11 and worked until 5 or 6. We did take a break to go to the grocery store, which was absolute chaos. I don't have any videos of that because it was so chaotic, but we had another snowstorm on the forecast, so everyone was at the grocery store. They bought all the food. We had to wait in a line at the register for 15 minutes, which never happens anymore. Anyway, we got some groceries, I got some more snacks. We still don't have a working kitchen, so we did not get sort of raw foods. We mostly got microwave meals, which I don't love. I really wanted to have, the end scene of this vlog be, oh, the kitchen works now, but alas, it's just not done yet, and I really do want to wrap this up right here at the end of February, so I can sort of start something new. But I did successfully complete the player choice system. So what happens now, and effectively this is erasing the element connection system, which I always kind of felt like it was a little bit off, and I think this is a better way to do it. So when you get a choice, or I'm calling them favors, tokens of favor from the deities in this world, the magical deities, wherever I want to go with the story on that. But every few rounds you get a choice. Currently it's just one, but I want to expand this so it's an option between 3 because of how I've changed it. You accept your choice and you get, instead of having a buff that applies to every unit with a certain element or every unit of a certain role, instead you get a token, your token favor, and you can assign it to any unit that you want. And you can assign more than one to a unit if you'd like to do that. You can assign them to different ones. But this is effectively kind of acting like the way items do in TFT, where you can assign them to units. They do have a cap of 3. I don't think I'm gonna cap it, just to make things a little bit more fun. So you could have one super high-powered unit if you really want to. It's a single-player game. You don't necessarily need to balance these out as well when they're not PvP competitive. So I'll just let you go big if you want to go big on a single unit. You can assign the tokens, but you can't get them back unless you dismiss the unit, which is going to have a sort of lost cost to it. You're going to get some of your Borbs back, and you're going to get all your tokens back, but you won't get the additional Borbs that you used to level it up. So you'll want to make sure you're not leveling up a unit really high and then selling it, because it's just not going to give you back as much. But it's sort of, it's a trade-off if you want to get those tokens back. But all of this is working. It's all working. I thought it would be a multi-day project, honestly, but I got it all done. The only thing I didn't do was I didn't set up the 3 choices, so you still only have 1 choice. But that's okay, that's fairly simple, I can do that later. I'm just really happy with this. I need to still go through and rip out a lot of the element code, since I'm not going to be using that. I know I spent a lot of time on the highlights for the hex grid and, measuring which units were connected with compatible elements. But, sometimes you just have to cut stuff to make the game flow better, and I really feel like this is going to make it flow better. So it's not lost work because I kind of needed it to get here. And that's how I like to think about it. When you have to sort of pivot your project, it can feel bad to think you've wasted time, but I'm going to go with the optimistic interpretation of this. It wasn't wasted time because I needed it to figure out what I wanted to do. But that's going to be it for this video. I'm also going to do a little jank test before I finish editing this, and I'll put up on screen. The starting score was, I think, 48, according to my little graph. And then I'm going to do that test today. I'm going to put the score right here on screen. And we're going to see if it went down. I think it did. It's been going down a little bit the past couple weeks. And I really think this big push from the past week is going to get me a much better score. Unless I've introduced many new bugs with all my changes, which is possible, I think we're going to see some improvements here. But that's going to be it. I'm happy. I feel like the vlog quote worked in terms of getting me back on track a little bit. Obviously, this is a continuous process. I need to continue to find the motivation. I need to continue to make time to work on this as opposed to other things that I'm working on. But I am feeling really good about where we're at. I feel like some core pieces really took shape in this past month. And I've just got a lot more to build on. So that's going to be it for this vlog. I hope it's not too long. It probably is, because that's how I do things. But I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you have a lovely day, night, week, whatever. I hope you have a good time. I will be back soon with another video, and I hope to see you there. Thank you, and goodbye.